Good evening and welcome to the Flagler Auditorium. My name is Dr. Jared Allen and I'm the Director of Steel Bands at Matanzas High School. This is not Matanzas High School, but we are the Pirates and of course have to open with, he's a pirate. So, hope you enjoyed that. This is our advanced group and they are opening the show. They do have 3 more tunes for you. If you didn't get a program, we do have ushers running around with them. So raise your hand, make sure you get a program so you know which group's coming up next. And we can make sure you get that information. A couple things I want to point out to you on the program. On the back, we work very, very hard with our community partners to have sponsorships, to help fund all of the trips and instrument purchases and all the crazy stuff that we try to do in a year. And these sponsors are a huge part of making that happen. So definitely want to recognize them and say thank you to them. Please take time to do your business with them, right? Anytime you get a chance, you need shirts, call the ESP. If you need flooring, call Eastern Flooring. And take care of our sponsors. They're very, very good to us and we appreciate their support. All right, before we jump into this, we got a couple points of business first. Do I have any administrators, school board members in the audience? I saw a couple hands. Yeah, want to recognize them? Yep, thank you, Ms. Brock. Recognize them. Thank you guys for your support. We love being part of Flagler County Schools. It's nothing but a privilege, and of course, I tell my administrators all the time it's a privilege to be in Matanzas High School for sure. They're really great kids. They are. I don't just say it. You're great kids. Next group I need to recognize Miss Amelia Fulmer, where she's at. Oh, right back here. And of course, our sound techs and stagehands and our guides handing out the programs. Thank you so much to the Flagler Auditorium for hosting us and supporting us. This venue is an absolutely amazing venue to have here in Flagler County, and we always count it a privilege to be able to perform here and support what the Flagler Auditorium is doing. Last but not least, and a very, very important group of people I need to recognize, if I have any Blue Steel alumni in the audience, take a stand, take a stand. We love our alumni. And our alumni, I introduced them because they're going to help us set the tone for tonight's concert. Tonight's concert, if you have not been to a Blue Steel concert, tonight's concert is not your typical concert, all right? We're very much used to and I even talked to them about this in class today, we're very much used to the European style concert where everybody sits in their seats and everybody's very quiet and we do a little polite clap at the end. The problem is the steel band actually comes from the Caribbean, if you didn't know that, from Trinidad and Tobago, and traces its history back from there to African drumming. And if you know anything about African drumming, or if you've ever had the opportunity to be in a Caribbean panyard when the steel bands are playing, or down in the savannah listening to Panorama, nobody's sitting in their seat. Nobody. And in fact, my first time down there, 2015 I think it was, down there, sitting in the audience, and I was like sitting, I was like, yeah, this next steel band's on. And of course we didn't get like the most expensive seats. And instantly everybody stands up and starts partying, and I was like, how do you watch the band? So, we want to take advantage of not just the great seating that we have here, but we want to make sure that this is an authentic, fun experience for everybody. The steel bands are up here working incredibly hard to make this a fun experience for you, so we want you to participate in that. So, if you feel the urge to get up and dance, please do. If you feel the need to get out of your seat and make a party of it, let's do it. That's what this is about. This is fun, this is exciting, and you should be enjoying yourself. If you know a tune, sing along, have a good time. That's what we're here to do. Music's fun, and we should be enjoying it. So, I invite everybody to have a good time, enjoy the experience. As I said, this is our first group up. This is our advanced group. This group gets the privilege of representing us throughout the community. They're headed back up. This is, oh. I get to say this for the first time under my directorship. This is the National Silver Medalist Steel Band. Matanzas Blue Steel is proud to have 3 national silver medals and 2 national bronze medals from the Virginia Beach Pan Fest. But as Julie just said, we're going back this year because we still want that gold medal. We're still fighting for that. We're still fighting for that. So, this group will get to go back up there in May. It's always Mother's Day weekend, so we'll get to go back up there and do that. We've got a trip planned with Intermediate to go to Tallahassee. Because Blue Steel is amazing, we get to host the FMEA Festival, the statewide Steel Band Festival in March every year. So a lot of cool things that are coming up in the spring. Some of those are mentioned on the back of the program. But all that to say, we're gonna make this fun. So we got 3 tunes for you. Our first tune is our panorama chart, which we're taking to Virginia Beach. It's called Mashup by Blacks. It was arranged by Barry Manette. Our second tune is our pop tune for this year. It's Finesse. Probably know that one. By Bruno Mars, arranged by Mike Wendelin. And then our last tune for you is, of course, it's a holiday extravaganza. We have Pan Christmas for you. So, hope you enjoy. Please, have a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, your Matanzas Blue Steel. So we're gonna bring them out front for a group photo. So if you've been waiting for your chance to get your photo, come on out. Yeah, don't be shy, come on up, take a picture. Let's do one more round of applause for sixth period. All right, second period, start heading to the stage. So let me real quick, while we're doing a transition up here, Vanessa reminded me, we have like an odd amount of birthdays happening this week. So, not that they're odd, but just a strange amount that happen on So if you have a birthday this week, yell out, yell out, yell out, let me hear it. Happy birthday, Abigail! So let's sing. We always sing to my class. This is a way bigger crowd than they ever get in class. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy So, what's happening next is kind of an interesting experiment that is working out really way better than I imagined it, but it's good. So this year in our scheduling, I was given 2 intermediate classes because we had a little bit more than what we could fit into one class. So they were like, all right, let's try 2 classes this year, right? So we did that, but then between graduation requirements and 300 other things, different students switched out of the class. And now both of my classes, as you can see, are a little bit thinner than the last group that you saw. Right. So we started the year with each class doing separate songs, which is what you're gonna hear first. This group is doing Mind My Business, right, by Patrice Roberts, arranged by Barry Manette. And then next I'll bring up First Period, which is the other intermediate class, and then they have their own panorama chart. But I started talking to them and I was like, you know, it's just not the same steel band experience when it's like small and spread out like this. So our last 2 songs are actually gonna be combined, everybody all together. And then it fills up all the pans and it gives you that same experience you just got from advanced. So, this is Second Period by themselves, who is Blue Steel. So this year, I said this at the Caribbean Cafe, but maybe you weren't there or couldn't hear me because I didn't have a sound system there. So we gave the groups names. Our top group is Matanzas Blue Steel, because they go out in the community and represent us all the time, so they're Blue Steel, right? Our intermediate groups this year, because we have 2, is Trinidad, which is First Period, and then Second Period, which you see on the stage in front of you, Tobago, which are the two islands that make up the country where the steel pan comes from. So this is Blue Steel, Tobago. And I told you the song, mind my business. Here we go. First period coming up. So this is Blue Steel Trinidad, the other island. And they're going to be performing for you Stage Gone Bad. This one is by Ira George and is arranged by Harry Minute. next two songs are the combined tunes together. The first one is our pop tune for this group for the year, which is Don't Let Me Down. Probably recognize that one. And then our last tune is Carol of the Bells. Hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Blue Steel, Trinidad and Tobago! Come on out, group photo, group photo. Here's your chance to get your child's beautiful smiling face. Come out, guys, keep coming out, You're blocking people, come out. Okay, Sean's out there, good. All right, one more round of applause for first and second period. All right, fifth period, head to the stage, fifth period. Don't block it, don't block, keep going. Need a traffic cop over there. So every year, I get questioned on the order of the program because it's kind of traditional, like band and chorus programs, to save the advanced group for last. And that's fun, right? It makes sense, you're like building up to it. But I always tell my beginners that I like to save them for last because my beginners to me are always super impressive. These guys that you're seeing coming up on stage, and the other two classes are coming up next to them, not just bragging on fifth period, but fourth period and third period also. Our beginners walk in the door in August, most of them having never played an instrument, most of them having never read music, most of them having never been in any kind of music setting whatsoever, right? Except for like audience, right? So we bring them in, and the first thing we do is we do pan kwando. And pan kwando is similar, if you remember back in elementary school, recorder karate. It's kind of the same idea, except you don't have to listen to a recorder. But it's similar to that, and that they're building those skills of how to read music. So they come in, and we start them right off the bat, putting music in front of them, and talking about quarter notes, and eighth notes, and pitch, and rhythm, and getting into all that stuff, and starting to get them understanding the fundamentals of music. So they go through like 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, depends on the class, depends on how fast they move through it. It's self-paced, right? And they pass their songs off as they go. Once they get pan kwando done, it's all individual as pan kwando, right? Then they have to figure out how to rehearse and learn songs as a group. Because as they went through pan kwando, it was all individual, right? I didn't have to worry about anybody else. It's just me and my music, right? So once they get all that passed off, everybody you're looking at up here has earned their black belt. So after earning their black belt, then we switch gears and we go into group songs, just like intermediate and advanced. Except, again, they haven't been playing very long, right? So listening to each other, trying to balance out which part's important and figuring all that stuff out, it's a ton of work. It's a ton of work. You can ask them. It's a ton of work. And I'm always impressed to bring them up here because somehow, by November at the Caribbean Cafe, and then by December for a concert, they sound just as good as the other groups. It's impressive. It's impressive. So, this is fifth period, and as I mentioned, we gave names to all the groups, right? So, for our beginning groups, we actually assigned them the names of the areas where the steel pan started. So, there's an area in Trinidad Port of Spain is the capital. There's an area called Behind the Bridge. And behind the bridge is an area that is associated with all of the first steel pans and all the experimentation and all of that going on in that specific area. So there's 3 neighborhoods that make up that area. This group, I don't want to mix them up. Because I mixed them up at the Caribbean Cafe, so I don't want to mix them up. Okay, I had it right. So this group has the southernmost neighborhood, which is Laventille. So this is Blue Steel Laventille. So I'm going to tell you the wrong songs. Laventille, right? And they're doing 3 tunes for you. They're doing Pa Bailar by Jeff Norell, Frangipani by Emily Lemmerman, and then Joy to the World, which of course is a traditional tune arranged by me. So, hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Blue Steel, Lavin Teal, come on out for your group photo. Make sure your shirt is showing. They know this group photo is also for their grade. So. Haley's excited. I love it. One more round of applause for Blue Steel 5th period. All right, 4th period, headed to the stage. All right, so while this next group's coming up, I'll tell you a little bit more about our beginners this year. We were not only lucky enough to have Taekwondo and get that experience, we not only built up and had Caribbean Cafe and the holiday extravaganza, but in previous years, the bell schedule at Matanzas had the first 2 classes of the day as a block, right? So, to explain that, the fall class was totally separate from the spring class, right? So we only had 5 classes in a day, but they were twice as long, right? So my beginning classes were always scheduled as those block classes. So the 4 blocks, you have 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring, were always scheduled as my beginning groups, right? So they would get through Taekwondo, they would learn 3, 4, 5 songs, whatever they got done as a group. They would perform at Holiday Extravaganza, and then they were done. We did the EOC, and then I said goodbye to them, and, you know, hope they sign up for next year, but, you know, you never know. So the best news in the world was that then they announced this year that we're switching the bell schedule, right? So all of my classes are year-round. So we're doing the Holiday Extravaganza, and I get these guys for a whole nother semester. So I'm excited to see these groups are very, very much on par with where my beginning groups were traditionally for the Holiday Extravaganza. So I'm super excited to see what else we can get done in the spring and even push up into some harder music. So it's gonna be fun. And you'll get to see them again on your program at A Night at Pan, which is 25th and 26th. And you'll see these groups again doing a little bit harder music, a little bit more challenging stuff. They're also, all of my groups are going to get to work with them, but they're also going to get to work with Tracy Thorne that I mentioned, the Tallahassee trip that we're going to do in March. They're not going on the trip, but they'll get to work with the clinician when he comes to the school, right? And then we also have Miss Josanne Francis is coming in this year to work with us, and she'll be here 3-4 days later in March working with us. So they'll get to actually work with a clinician. In the past, like my fall groups never got to work with a clinician, so a lot of cool experiences for them. I'm excited. All right, so this group, I don't want to mess it up. This was the group I said the wrong one at. Caribbean Cafe. This is Blue Steel Gonzalez. So Gonzalez is that middle, that central neighborhood over there behind the bridge. And so we're excited to give them that name. It's an important part of the history of Pan. So this is Blue Steel Gonzalez. They have 3 tunes for you. I was kind of on a food theme. They pointed out to me later on. But the first song is Cheese Fries by John Wilmarth. Then our second song is Kiwi by C.J. Mengi. And then last but not least, you have Jolly Old St. Nicholas, arranged by Emily Lemmerman. Hope you enjoy. gentlemen, Blue Steel Gonzalez. Come on out for your group photo. Come on up, don't be scared, don't be scared. All right, one more round of applause for Blue Steel, fourth period. All right, and third period is headed to the stage. Last but certainly not least. So for the Caribbean Cafe, we actually went in class order, and so it was 3, 4, 5. And so we switched them for this concert because third period was like, how come we, or fifth period was like, how come we had to go last? Right? So I switched them up and we put third on last. And so I was telling third period in class, you guys are gonna end the show. And they're like, how come we have to go last? And I said, listen, we saved the best for last. That's what we did. I don't know if they believed it. But. So I'll point out in this group, and probably some of them left already, so it's hard to recognize them, but I do want to point out, I'm sorry, jumping in your way, and I know you're trying to get pictures, you're good. We are a lot of steel band, school steel bands, right? Their directors do all the drumming, right? And when I first started doing this, I'm a percussionist by trade, right? I kind of learned steel pan on the job at my first school, and I was not a drum set player, like whatsoever, right? I've gotten stronger by need. But when I first got here, I was like, ooh, that's not my thing. So I was excited when I got here because my predecessor, Rachel Palmer, that started the program, had already put it in place that students do drum if they have a drum. So like fourth period, I just played all their tunes for them because none of the students wanted to drum, none of them drummed before, didn't want to learn anything like that. So I'm glad to cover the parts, but it's exciting to me that we can give students the opportunity to drum. As you saw advanced, we had Scoot, I call him Scoot, but it's Josh, got to drum for us for advanced. He says to me, it was a few months ago, he goes, why do you call me Scoot? And I said, because you're Scoot. For intermediate, we had Colin, was our drummer. He's still back there. Hiding back there somewhere. And then of course we had two drummers for fifth period. We have Michael and Martin drum for us for fifth period. Yeah. Did a great job with that. And it's always exciting in the beginning groups. I'm always like, I never know who I'm gonna get. I don't know if I'm gonna have drummers or not. That one I actually had two of them that stepped up to do it. Both learning how to drum. Then fourth period, we didn't have anybody, so I covered the drums for them. And then this class enrolls on day one, Aiden Newbold, who's a senior, right? And I'm always a little bit concerned for my seniors that are in beginning because I'm like, well, you only get 1 year of this, right? You don't have the incentive of like, oh, I'm gonna come back and do intermediate or advanced, right? You only get beginning, right? So I'm always trying to find ways to make beginning exciting for them. Aiden actually stepped up and said, hey, I wanna drum. I was like, all right, go for it. Turns out, Aiden's actually a pretty solid drummer. So I was actually, I don't remember who it was, but somebody in advanced I was complaining to the other day because he's a senior, so of course I don't get him next year, but I'd love to have an intermediate or advanced, and you'll see that. Aiden's been a great drummer. So this is another one of our beginning groups, right? This is Blue Steel Belmont. You guys look excited. Belmont is a little bit special to me. Of the three neighborhoods that are behind the bridge, because I actually got to live in Trinidad for a year. I earned my master's from the University of Trinidad and Tobago in carnival studies, of all things. But while I was down there for a year, I was actually renting an apartment in Belmont and actually got to live in Belmont. So Belmont's a little bit special to me. But I've been in Laventille, I've been in Gonzales, I've been in all those. So, last but not least, these guys have 3 tunes for you. Seems to be the going rate tonight. But 3 tunes for you. We have 11 by C.J. Mangy. We have Turtle Town by C.J. Mangy. And then Feliz Navidad by Feliciano, arranged by me. Hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Blue Steel Belmont. Come get those photos, come get those photos. One more round of applause for Blue Steel third period. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Another special thank you to the Flagler Auditorium for all your support and hosting us. I just want to put out there, in case your student has not, your child, they're my student, your child, if your child has not passed on to you this information, we do actually need to get all this packed up and loaded out into our Penske truck. And I gotta get the Penske back tonight, so we gotta get it unloaded back at the school. I offered them community service hours, for helping us load out and then get back to the school and unload there. So as much help as we can get that done quickly, get everybody home as soon as we can, that would be wonderful. Thank you again so much for coming out. Thank you. Sure.
Hey, let's give a shout out to the teacher. He's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Thank you. Cleona's up here crying. So, any volunteers I can get to help get the truck loaded out quickly, and even if you can't get back to the school, that's okay. As much help as we can get, getting everything loaded out and then getting unloaded back at the school. Appreciate all your help. Everybody drive safe and have a wonderful evening.